Hello, welcome again. In the last video, we discussed about the engine cooling. In this video, let us talk about engine lubrication. You know, in an IC engine, there are many moving parts. Some will be rotating, some will be reciprocating. This part surfaces when they come in contact with each other because of the relative motion and because of presence of friction, the wear and tear happens. So overall, to reduce this wear and tear, also to reduce the loss of energy to overcome the frictional forces, it is necessary the engine's parts have to be lubricated. So now, the objectives of applying lubrication of engine are many. Here I have listed out 6 of them. One is to reduce the frictional forces between the parts having relative motion to ensure smooth running of the engine. Second one, to reduce the wear and tear of moving parts. To cool the surfaces by carrying away the heat generated due to friction. So thus, lubricant is not only meant for reducing the wear and tear of moving parts by reducing the friction, but it can also be used as a coolant. It can also be used as a seal to seal a space adjoining the surfaces such as piston rings and cylinder liner. To absorb the shocks between bearings and other parts, consequently reduce noise. It can act as a damper. So you know, in a damper there will be viscous friction. This lubricant acts as a viscous friction, and also to act as a cleaning agent and removing dirt, grit and any deposit that might be present between the moving parts of an automobile. So that's the reason why the engine is to be continuously lubricated while it is running. Which are the main parts of the engine that needs lubrication? Crankshaft, bearings, big end and small end of the connecting rod, a gauge and pin, piston rings, cylindrical valves, timing gears, camshaft and camshaft bearings, valve mechanism, valve guide, valve tappets, rocker arms, governor, water pump bearing and many other. Let us look at in this diagram how exactly a lubrication system works in an engine. So this figure shows the lubrication system in an internal combustion engine. This part is the oil pan where the lubricating oil is present. You can call it as oil sump. So here you have a oil intake system, a floating oil intake, and there is a screen around this. From here this is connected to the suction side of oil pump, and oil pump, then it is the oil flows out of this pump to an oil filter. From the oil filter, if there are any dirt gets cleaned up, then the cleaned oil through oil galleries will flow to various lubricating points. Various lubricating points like this. You see here. Now you can very clearly see that this is the crankshaft of the engine. You can say crankshaft bearings are here. The big end of the connecting rod, again bearings, big end of the connecting rod, like this. To the various points, the lubricant oil is being made to flow. The other side, you see, this is the crankshaft, the small end of the connecting rod over here. This is the piston, correct. This is where we have the camshaft. Then you have the tappets. Then you have the push rods. Then you have the rocker arm. These are rocker shaft. Then you have rocker arms, correct. Then you have valves, valve springs. Say to all these parts, the lubricating oil is made to flow. So through again, whatever oil that flows in the forward direction comes back to the pan through a return line. That oil is cooled, cleaned, again is made and pumped back to these various parts. That way, continuously a stream of lubricating oil is maintained and continuously all these parts are lubricated. If you look at this oil pump, normally we use a gear pump as an oil pump. Okay, this gear pump is driven by the crankshaft. When you crank the engine, this will start driving this and immediately it will suck the oil, pressurizes the oil, suck the oil, pressurizes the oil and pushes into the oil galleries. If the pressure, so for every point there is a set value of the pressure. So if by chance the pressure exceeds the set value, then using the pressure relief valve, which is automatically set, releases that extra oil and reduces the pressure. And this well calibrated pressure will pass through the oil filter, then will flow to the point of lubrication. That's how the engine is lubricated. Now sometimes we use in IC engine splash lubrication. What is that? You see this figure, this is the crankshaft. This is the connecting rod. The small end of the connecting rod is connected to the piston and big end of the connecting rod is here, and there is a scoop here. So when the engine starts rotating, when the engine comes, dips into this oil sump, so the scoop gets filled, and after that when it moves up, it throws the oil like this, so that the inner surface of the cylinder will be lubricated. So this oil, now when the piston starts coming down, here the piston rings, you have this surface gets lubricated. Also you have the piston rings here, and there is an oil ring over here. So this oil through this oil ring will flow, lubricates the gudgeon pin, the small end of the connecting rod, and through the small egg gallery, again it will flow back, which is embedded inside that, it will flow backwards into this. This is how the splashed lubrication happens in an engine system. Now let us see this lubrication process using a video.
Engine lubrication by means of oil is primarily used to reduce friction between moving parts and dissipate heat. In this animation, we want to describe wet sump lubrication using a 4-stroke engine with only one cylinder. In the lower area of the engine is the oil sump in which the oil can be found. The oil pump is responsible for pumping the oil through oil galleries. When the oil has become very hot after several cycles, it is cooled by an oil cooler. The oil is then pumped to the oil filter. Inside the oil filter is a filter that catches the particles in the oil and does not allow them to pass through to the engine. The oil flows from the outside into the oil filter, then runs through the filter, which is made invisible here, and flows through the center tube. Then, the oil flows upwards. The oil flows to the engine where it is used to lubricate the crankshaft bearings. In 4-stroke engines, crankshaft bearings are almost always plain bearings. Unlike roller bearings, which use roller elements to move the inner and outer ring against each other, plain bearings use oil to form a lubricating film. The lubricating film is created by the two contact surfaces that move. The crankshaft has oil galleries so that the connecting rod bearing can be supplied with oil. In diesel engines, the connecting rod can also have an oil gallery to use the oil for cooling and lubricating the piston and the piston pin. For gasoline engines, on the other hand, the oil, which splashes out of the sides of the bearing, is used to cool and lubricate the piston, pin, and cylinder. Holes can also help to transport the oil to the desired parts and spots. The piston has one or two compression rings and one oil scraper ring. The oil scraper ring is responsible for controlling the oil balance at the piston and the compression rings. Excess oil flows inwards through holes, especially when the piston is running down. Then, the oil can drain down from the piston into the oil sump. Furthermore, the oil is pumped to the camshaft bearings, rocker arms, and valves in order to reduce friction and heat. From here, the oil flows into the oil sump via oil galleries.
Here the most important thing is the engine lubricant. Engine lubricant must have certain properties, mainly the viscosity of the oil. Engine operates at various temperatures. The oil initially will have certain viscosity. Once it gets heated, its viscosity changes. So the lubricating film should not become too thin so that the parts start making a contact and the rubbing action starts. So in all conditions, the engine has to maintain an optimum viscosity for that condition. So, if so, what is this lubricant typically made of? Engine oil typically consists of about 80% base oil and 20% performance additives. This base oil can be either a mineral oil or it is a synthetic oil. And that the performance additives include anti-wear additives, antioxidants, dispersants, and detergents that keep the engine clean, and viscosity index improvers that ensures the oil maintains an optimum viscosity throughout the engine's operating temperature range. If so, what is synthetic oil, part synthetic oil, and mineral oil? Synthetic oils are chemically synthesized oils to meet the exacting demands of modern engines. This makes them more expensive to produce, but because they are tailor-made, they provide the best performance, protection, and fuel economy. They also remain stable at very high temperatures, fluidity even at very low temperatures. Part synthetic oils are a blend of mineral and synthetic oils. They provide better performance, protection, and fuel economy than mineral oils, but not as good as fully synthetic ones. Mineral oils are made from naturally occurring crude oil, which is refined and processed to remove waxes and impurities, and tend to be found in the thicker grades of engine oils. Now, what is the reason we prefer synthetic oils than the mineral oils as lubricants in engines? The reason synthetic oils outperform mineral oils is down to their molecular structure. Mineral oil is made from a complex mix of molecules of different shapes and sizes. In contrast, synthetic oil is created in a carefully controlled process and tailor-made to meet more exacting specification. The result is better lubrication at both hot and cold temperatures, potentially increased horsepower and torque due to reduced friction, enhanced cleanliness and superior engine protection, increased stability and endurance. The oil lasts longer and needs to be changed less frequently. The potential for improved fuel economy. Then what is the composition of synthetic oil? Synthetic oil is a lubricant consisting of chemical compounds that are artificially made. They can be manufactured using chemically modified petroleum components rather than whole crude oil, but can also be synthesized from other raw materials. The base material, however, is still overwhelmingly crude oil that is distilled and then modified physically and chemically. The actual synthesis process and composition of additives is generally a commercial trade secret and will vary among producers. So these, again, lubricants can be classified. They can be classified based on viscosity. We call it as SAE standard, Society of Automotive Engineers. Based on performance, that is API or ACEA manufacturer specification. For example, if they write 15W oil, it makes it possible to start the engine up to minus 20 degree Celsius. So thus there are many such specifications one can see, and accordingly their suitability for lubrication conditions and purposes can be seen from the manuals that these standards have provided. So that's all about the engine lubrication. So next we'll move on to the next topic. Thank you.